Okay, we're going to talk about file types today. File
Now, can
type.
I ask on that? Is that the new Windows 11 you're doing at the time with the Windows Paint?
Yes, you can ask your question. I don't know. Go ahead, Dee.
Windows 11
Yes.
or Windows 10?
Well, I'm on Windows 11, so my demonstration will indicate Windows 11, but
Okay,
everything that's covered in this class will apply to Windows 10 as well.
okay, great, thanks.
File types have not changed for years. Well, new ones come on, old ones go away, but the concept of file types continues. Okay? All right, I want to start with a story. It's a little story time. I want you to imagine how file types got started, why they exist, why we need them, why it seems to be working pretty well with file types until you get the glitch on your screen that your program cannot open a file. Okay. We go back in time and say you're a programmer and you got hired for a company, and the company has been doing payroll manually. People, the clerks, were writing out the checks, keeping track of social security numbers, pay rates, and so forth of all the employees in the company. And they hire you and they say, will you write a program? We want to automate our payroll. And you, being a good tech person, say, sure, I can write that program, no problem. So you look at the payroll records, and there's information that has to be on that record for every employee, like social security number, pay rate, date of hiring, first name, last name, all kinds of payroll information, okay? So you have to convert that information from paper, manual, or whatever, and make a file with that information. You make a file. And the file contains records. And one record is one employee. So each employee has a record, and all the employees, all their records make up one file, the payroll file. Okay. So you write your program, and in the program that you write, using computer language or whatever program language you choose that you use, you write that program to accept that file as input to your program. So your program is very specific. It expects the social security number to be the first 9 characters of the record. It expects the last name to be the next 25 characters of the record. And it expects the pay rate to be the next 10 digits or characters of the record. So when you run your program is designed to only use that file. You would not be able to run your payroll program if somebody put a file trying to go into or run your program against or with a file that is not the payroll file. It won't work. You can't read a document file into the payroll program. It makes no sense, right? Okay, so that is a concept of a file type. The file type code in the file name indicates what program created the file. Okay, so now I'm going to share screen. We're going to play a little bit. So let's take a look here. How do I share my screen again? I always get that. No, let's see, advanced sharing options. No, I think it's up at top here. Boy, if Huey was here, he'd tell me right where to go to share my screen. Maybe I click on share. Oh yeah, here we go. This should be it. Hang on. Share down here. Let's see if this works. Did you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
The flowing brook. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
They're all happy. So we go to our old friend from the last couple of classes, File Explorer. I'm going to open my File Explorer. And this is the starting screen for File Explorer in Windows 11. Your starting screen for File Explorer in Windows 10 will be a little different. But the point is, as you remember from our previous classes, you could go down the left column and click on Documents. For example, Documents up here is the same Documents folder, but this is pinned for shortcut purposes. It's a shortcut area. Okay, come down to Documents, click on it, and we get all the folders that are in the Documents folders first, and it says Type, File, Folder. And if we go down the list to where the files are listed, these are files. Here is the type of file. This file, for example, a Microsoft Excel file. So the file types are listed for you right here with all the files. If they're not listed, you can just move your mouse to any file and it will tell you the type of file it is. Very first thing, Microsoft Edge. This one is a JPG file. That's a file type. It says right over here, JPG file. So there's all these different file types.
Well, where's the key to that door?
The first thing I want to tell you and have you write down is that you can look up any file type.
Jim, excuse me, could you mute us all? Please?
Sure, if I can figure out how to do that. Let's see. Make this thing bigger. Let's see. They have to find that post tools. Let's try that. No, it's not there. Not in the host tools. Here, let me check. That was me. I'm sorry, I can't find where I can mute everybody. I've never done that before. It seems quiet now. Could we continue, you think?
Yes, I'm sorry. It's
Okay,
Diane's
thank
phone.
you for mentioning it because we do want to keep down the background noise, but I want people to be able to ask questions. Okay, so the first thing for your notes today is that file types, you can look up any file type on Google. Just put in what is .pdf file type, and it'll tell you all about it. So you can look up these file types, okay? Now, the file type, going back to my share screen here, I have indicated on my File Explorer to show the file type in the file name itself. So for example, this file type is .docx. That means it's a Microsoft Word document. Can you all see that on your screen?
Yes.
Okay. So how do you do that? Well, if you go into View, and you go, this is the detail pane view, but if you go to Show, File Name Extensions is an option down here that I clicked. So you need to, I would recommend that you do that so that you see the file type in the name at the end of the self. You don't have to look for it in the type column you don't have to highlight it by moving your mouse on it. You don't have to click on it. You just move your mouse on it.
When you click on that, does it do it automatically? Does it
That's
put the
funny.
file type on your bookmark automatically?
File type on my bookmark. I think you're referring maybe to these files here. These are the names of the files that are on documents, and the file type is after the dot at the end of the file name. .doc is a file type.
But in order to do what you said, to get it up there, does it do it automatically when you go to name extensions?
Does it do it
File name
automatically? No, you have to set the option for viewing the contents of this folder. And on the view, you click the arrow to get choices for your view. The window that you're seeing now is a detail list view because detail is checked. And the details pane is checked so that you get the folder list on the left and the details pane on the right. But show is an extension down here with an arrow, and you can move your mouse or click on it. And here you can click on file name extensions. Show or hide the set of characters added to the end of files that identifies the file type or format. And I have that turned on. I recommend it, but you don't have to have it turned on because you can find the file type 3 different ways. And one of the ways is, of course, because of the column type column here. Okay. Now, let's get back to our story a little bit. And let's say instead of writing a payroll program, your boss asked you to write a program that would be a text editing program that you could write documents. You could do text with it. And right now, it seems that Microsoft Word is the most popular program that allows you to create a document. Everybody knows about Microsoft Word, so forth. But in the old days, that wasn't true. You had several programs you could pick from that could create a document. And when you created that document, you had to have that program to open up the document. If you created a document using Word and somebody did not have the word processing program, they could not open up that Word document if you sent it to them. Okay? Because they didn't have the program that created the file. They had a different program. So that's why file types exist. But as time passed, coming back to modern times, Microsoft Word got so popular that Microsoft Word, the Microsoft Corporation, decided, let's allow Microsoft Word to open up different documents, not just Word documents. Do you remember WordPad? WordPad was a free program that came with Windows, and it still was with Windows 10, I believe. But Windows 11 no longer has WordPad. But WordPad was another different program. It was different than Word. WordPad was different than Word. It was a different program that allowed you to create text documents. And Microsoft Word could open up WordPad documents as well as Microsoft Word documents. And I think they had one point where Microsoft WordPad could open up a Word document, but it would strip off all the extra bells and whistles that Word had. For example, Word could do tables, Word could do this, Word could do that. WordPad couldn't do all that. It was a simple word processing program. So as time goes by, you have to remember that a particular program may be able to open up different file types. So let's open up a Word document and see how that works for a Word document, text document. I'll open up Microsoft Word, loop, loop, and I'll do a blank document. And I start typing away. Okay, and I want to save this document. So I go to File and Save As. And when I do that, I get this screen and I can find the folder in which I want to save it. Well, I'll say I want to save it on my desktop folder. Okay, so that's okay. And I can't see all of this, excuse me. I'm gonna move it over a little bit. Oops. I'm sorry, I'm playing around a little bit too much here. Okay, I click Save As. I got the Save As folder. And I pick the folder in which I want to save it. In this case, I'm going to pick the desktop folder. I click on it, and I get this window that is the Save As window, but it looks just like File Explorer. Isn't that nice? They didn't make it different. That's good. And if I come down here, I see this command, this option called Save As Type. And if I don't change it, it will save it as a Word document with the file extension .docx. So no matter what I type up here, this is a test document. That's the name of the file. Where does it get that from? Well, that's the first line of the document I wrote. So it picks up the first line as the suggested, recommended file name. I don't want it to be that name. I'm going to change the name. And we'll just call it test doc 1. Give it a name. Notice that it keeps the .docx, which is the file type for a Word document. In the older days, a few years ago, there wasn't an X there. It was just .doc. They added the X in 2010, 10th anniversary or something, I don't know. But now the documents that are saved in Word are .docx. I change the name. Even if I take the .docx away, it's still going to add the .docx as the file type. Okay, but what I want to show you is, because Word is so powerful, if you click the arrow over here at the right side of Save As File Type, you get all these choices to save your document. You could save it as the Word 97 to 2003 .doc file type. You could save it as a Word template. You could save it as a PDF file. You could save it as a rich text format. These are all file types that Word can use and open and work with. Okay, so when you create a Word document or you open somebody else's document in Word that's not a Word document, like a rich text format, RTF file type, You can open that in Word. Well, you have your choice to save it as a Word document at that point. And 99% of the time, that's what you'll do. If you have Word and you use Word, all the documents you create with Word will most likely always, you'll want to have them saved as a Word document file type. That's why you pay the money for Word. But the cool thing is, as I mentioned before, and it's so important, I'm going to repeat it again, you can choose a different file type, like PDF. And now PDF is here. And when I save this document, I have just written test doc 1, it's going to save it as a PDF file type. Now, why is this important, or why was this so important years ago? Somebody would send me a document that they created on Microsoft Word, and they'd send it as an attachment to an email, and I tried to open that document, and I couldn't open it. And I get a message on my screen that says, can't open this document. Would you like to download a program or an app that can open it? And I always say no, because I didn't want to download a new app I didn't know anything about. Well, I would call the person up or send them an email and say, sorry, Tom, I couldn't open your document. It's a Word document, and I don't have the Word program or app to open it. So I can't open your
I
document.
think you're cutting in and out. Can't hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. There's
Jim?
nothing I can do about it. If you, is it better now?
Yes.
Okay, maybe I'll talk more slowly. So what the person would do would say, well, you have WordPad, don't you? And I say, yeah, because WordPad came with all editions of Windows at that time. So he would take the Word document and save it as a WordPad format and send it to me again, and I could open it. Okay, does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions about that? Maybe that's happened to you?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
You said it can be saved in WordPad if it can't be saved in Word. Is that what you were saying? Correct?
No, if you have Word, you can save it as a Word document, and you probably should, because almost everybody has Word now. Here, let me get out of this. Okay, so if I save this document, it's going to save it by default. Default is what you get unless you want to change it to something else. So by default, if you create a document on Word and you go to save it, it's going to save it as a Word document, .docx file extension. But you can change, if you want to, you can change the type of file you want this to be saved as by clicking the arrow and getting this list and picking from this list. But I wouldn't worry about it too much, because if you have Word, you're going to save it as a Word document
Question,
almost all the time.
Jim, if you create a document and you don't want somebody to change it, so you want it as a PDF, is this where you do it so that they can't change it?
That's a really good question, Ann. And I can tell you've been a member of STUG for a long time to ask such a good question. PDF started in history. You had these different word processors done by different companies. And Microsoft thought, you know, it's such a mess out there with all these different word processors. Why don't we invent a file type that people can save it to, or not, but a file type that can accept any document from almost any word processor. And it will allow people to look at the document and to print the document, but they couldn't change it. Why couldn't they change it? Because if PDF was created as a print direct file. I think that's the acronym. I'm not sure if the words match, but PDF was designed so that you could print any file. And it worked well for many years. People would say, oh, you couldn't open my Word file. I'll send it to you as a PDF. And then they could read it, but they couldn't open it to edit it because they didn't have Word. But now, guess what? Today, Word can open PDF files. If somebody sends you a PDF, you can open it and you can change it. And there's nothing dangerous about that, Anne, because what your question was, if you send it as a PDF, people can't change it. That's not quite true anymore. They can. They can open it in Word and they can change it all they like, but they're not changing your file. They're changing their own file that they just created. So your file is safe. If I create a document in Word and I save it to my C drive, and I send that document to everybody, and whoever has Word or can open the file, they're welcome to open it and change it. But they can't save it and replace my file with it on my C drive. It's still mine. Okay, does that answer your question, Ann?
It sure does. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. That was a really good question. Because I wanted to cover that. It was on my page of notes here. Okay, you can look up any file type on Google and learn about it. And you can determine from Google, it will tell you what apps can open that file and what apps could create that file. They may not be the same app. Just because an app can open it doesn't mean it can create it from scratch, but usually it does. But now, many apps, and let's see, Lake is coming in here. There we go. Many apps like Word or the Paint program, which we're going to talk about next month, they can open different file types. So that's kind of neat. So an app like Word can save your file as any other file type that Word can save it as by clicking on Save as Type down here, clicking the arrow, and selecting the file type you want to use. Okay. You can't change the file type by changing the name. Okay. If I come up here to the file name folder and I try to change the file type to a different file type, I don't think it'll work. I don't recommend it. Let's see what it does here, because it's going to save it as a type docx, right? I think it will save it as this is a test document.pdf.docx. I think it will still add the docx onto it. Let's see what happens. Let's look at my desktop where I said I put it. And here it is here. And look at his, the name is document.pdf.docx. So you cannot change the file type by changing the file name. You have to change the file type by selecting Save as Type and select an option. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. How did I see it? Did I say the wrong document? No, there it is. There we go. I got it. Okay. So we did that. Let's see. Are there any questions so far? We covered a lot of interesting stuff.
Lake has a question.
Lake, go ahead.
No, I don't. Who said I did?
Your hand is up.
Oh, I don't think so. I'm sorry. I was just waving it across the board, I guess.
Okay.
Sorry.
And it's very important that you understand File Explorer. We've doted on File Explorer so often that you realize and know that File Explorer with the view details, the detail view will give you a column by the type of file it is. And you can sort on that column. So you can sort so that all the file types are together, all the JPG file types, all the Microsoft Edge file types, all the Word document file types are all together by sorting by the type column. Usually I sort by name alphabetically, but you can sort by any column heading. So the file type, if you're in a different view, let's say we're looking at photographs, we go to, let's open up a photograph folder, pictures, and this view is different. Now, this is not the detail list view. What view is it? This is the large icon view. You can see the folders, and below the folders, we have specific pictures that are files. Okay. If I put my mouse on a file.
Why are you having this test? Who recommended it? What's it for?
Gibson.
Excuse me? Question?
About echo.
Is there a question? I'm sorry. No? Okay. If I move my mouse to a image here, which is we're using the view large icons. If I move my mouse on one of these, it opens up a box that tells me the file type right at the top. So that's another way to find the file type for a particular file. If it's a folder, it's not a file, it's a folder. Files go into folders. Folders are not files. If a folder is empty, there's no file type associated with a folder. Okay. All right, any questions? I covered the 80% of what I wanted to cover already. But is there something that you want to ask? Okay, let's go work with pictures a little bit, shall we? We're going to cover the Paint program in another class in April. But here's the Paint program here. It comes free with all editions of Windows. Maybe you've heard of programs like Adobe Photoshop or other programs that work with pictures, and they're very powerful. They let you do all kinds of neat things. The Paint program, compared to them, is not very powerful, but it's free. So you should be aware that it exists in Windows because it comes free with Windows. So I'm going to open up the Paint program by double-clicking at this icon on my desktop. And we're going to go into the Paint program in more fun detail in April. Move this over a little bit so it fits on my screen. Now, the Paint program has changed somewhat for Windows 11. In Windows 10, it's a little bit different with the menus, but you can do all the same things in the Paint program in Windows 11 that you could do in Windows 10, but the menus are a little different. Why did they change them? I have no idea. Nobody ever asked me, Jim, what do you think is a good idea? We want to change the menu. I'd say, no, don't add things to it, but don't change it. That's not what they do. They change it all around. Okay. In the Paint program, you can draw. Let's make this a little smaller. You can draw images. You can pick colors. We can have all kinds of fun with the Paint program. Okay, I just created a company logo. Isn't that nice? It's a logo your company would be proud of, right? Now I want to save it. So I come up to File, and I want to save my work. File, save as. And look what I get right away. I get choices of a file type. I can save it as a PNG picture, a JPEG, a BMP, a GIF, or other format. I don't know what other formats there are, but let's say I want to save it as a JPEG picture. Why would I want to save it as JPEG? Because all the pictures I take with my phone, when I save them, they're saved as JPEG photos. So that's the file type that I work with most when I work with photos. So I'm going to save it as a JPEG picture. And here's my save as window again, just like I had in Word. But it's not exactly, it's a little different. I can pick my place where I want to save it, pick the folder I want, screenshots, let's pick a different one, say scans. When I scan things on my printer, I save it, okay? And I want to save it in this folder called the scans folder. So in the pictures folder, there's a folder called scans, and that's the folder I have open here. If I come down to pictures down here away from the shortcut area, and I come down to pictures, this PC, I think this is trying to find pictures down here. I don't think it's there. There it is. So I'll open up this folder here. Libraries, click the arrow. It lists the folders that are in the libraries folder. And one of them is pictures. And there's my pictures. And I was doing scans. And I can open up scans. That's where I was before. But here's the path name up here. And I'm in the scans folder is the one that's open. And if I go to pictures here, pictures, scans is highlighted here. Not save pictures, not screenshots, but scans. And that's the folder I picked to save this beautiful logo I just created on the Paint program. Well, look at the file name. It's going to give me a file name called Untitled. Do you think I want to keep that name? No. Let's give it a different name. We'll click on it, give it a different name. Test. Oops. Logo. Okay. It's going to save it as a JPEG file type because that's what I selected. When I got to this screen of save as, just before that, I picked the file type I wanted. It's kind of nice to give it to you up there. But look down here. Again, I get this arrow, and I could save my logo, drawing, creation is any of these file types. So what's the point? The point is many programs allow you to use different file types. Therefore, you can convert a one file type to a different file type by opening it in a program that will support the file type you want to create. In other words, if somebody sends me a bitmap photo and I open it in the pictures or the Paint application, if they send me a bitmap photo and I open it in Paint, once I open that bitmap photo, I can save it as a JPEG photo by selecting the JPEG file type. So you can convert one file type to another if your app supports both. That's very important and very handy. Are there any questions about that? Most of the time, you will not mess with file types. If somebody sends you a file as an attachment to an email, and you try to open that file and you can open it, no problem. But if you get a message that you don't have an app that can open it, then you have a problem. Either you need to get the person to send it to you as a different file type that you can open, or you need to download an app or use a free app on the internet that will allow you to open it. If you
Jim, that's
create
the
your own
problem I
files,
have right now.
yeah,
if
Dee,
I-
go ahead, Dee, ask your question.
If I had a picture in my photo on my iPhone and I send it to my email, then I tried to open it so I could save it and then send it to other, people. So what happened when it gets to my email, then I open it in that email and try to save it to the desktop. It is coming up with, it opens in that Liber thing that I have, that Liber word. So I can't, and then it's a small little thing. Then I have to try to maneuver it, make it bigger, then save it. And then it's saved on a desktop in that Liber word. Then I can't get it to my other email that I'm sending out. When it comes to that email and I open it, it comes up with Liber. How can I, just like you're saying there, make it not open in Liber, but a different one from my email, so I don't have to maneuver it so much?
Okay, Dee, I'm sorry, but what do you mean by Liber? I don't understand what that
The
is.
Liber is the Liber word. What's that kind of word I have from this group?
Could it
It
be
comes,
Libra? Libra? With an
no,
A?
no, the Liber, I think it's called Liber, but it's that one that I have in, it comes up in that. It's on my desktop. Let me see what it is.
Jim, I think she's talking about the ability to link up file extensions to what program they open up in.
Well, I just demonstrated the Paint program, but when you open a photo from File Explorer, it doesn't open in the Paint program by default. It opens up in the, what do they call it? Picture viewer in Windows. Let me do that. Maybe that'll help get us started with her question.
It's opening up out of the email. I email it from my phone, from my photos in the phone to the email. Then I try to open it so I could save it to my desktop. So I have to download it, and I do download it, but then it is saving into Liber Word, into that Word Liber that I have on my desktop, not the Word doc.
Talking about LibreOffice
Right.
rather than Word itself and Microsoft,
Correct.
but you have to download that Libre app to use it rather than using Microsoft Word.
File associations.
Yes. Mhm.
I think instead of taking a lot of time to try to answer that, we're talking about Libra application instead of Word. We're talking about a photograph from a phone instead of a photograph that's already on your C drive. There's a lot of factors all coming together in one question. I think I'd like to address that by having a class, one of our classes, to be dealing with photographs from your phone, because the photographs and everything I'm demonstrating now are already on Windows. They're not
Okay.
from another device, like a phone.
That
Okay,
Okay.
so I can show you, this may help a little bit to help get you started. I'm not going to save this now. Well, maybe I'll save it as a screenshot. Test Goofy logo. I'll save that here in under screenshot folder. So I'm in pictures the screenshots folder, and I'm saving test goofy logo as a JPEG picture,
Yes.
and I'm saving it there.
Right.
And here's my, back to my logo that I created. I'm going to exit pictures. I'm sorry, I'm going to exit the Paint program. Exit Paint, and I'm going to open up File Explorer, and I'm going to go to Pictures, and I'm going to go to a picture here of, oh, hey, look, here's my screenshot. There's my logo in the folder. I can see it. Little part of it anyway. This is scans. Well, let's say I want to open up, I should do a regular photo, really. Go back to pictures. You can go up and down your path name by clicking up here as well. 2024 pictures, 2021 pictures. It's okay, so if I want to open up a picture here, I double click it, right? When you double click a file in File Explorer, click, it will try to open that file, but it will open it using the default app for that file type. In other words, there are apps associated with your file types. The simple example would be if I double click on a .docx file type, which is a Word document, it's going to open up that file in Word. Now, because I double clicked on this photo, it opened it up in the photo viewer package that comes with Windows. It's quite a nice photo, actually, isn't it?
Very nice.
Let me make it a little smaller here if I can. No, it won't let me adjust it. Well, that's all right. Okay. I can edit this photo a little bit in this package, but if I want to open this in the Paint program, I would open the Paint program first and then use the Paint program to open this photo.
Jim, may I make a suggestion?
Yes, go ahead, Kate.
In the chat, I just put the file associations ability to go and change. And I think maybe Dee has her pictures set to Libra instead of whatever she wants. Mine are set to open up in Irfan view. So that
Okay.
if you go there, you can
I'll have
choose.
to play with transferring photos from my phone to my computer a little bit more because I'm not very good at that. I've done it, but I didn't take notice as to how they were being transferred as to what kind of file type they were being transferred as. So, okay. We're winding down. Let me see if I covered everything on my notes. I think I did. For file types, don't be scared of file types. Don't be afraid to look them up on Google. Ask Google about the file types. Okay. And when you use Microsoft Word document, or when we use the Paint program in a couple weeks, and you can experiment by looking at the different file types that are available to you. Like this one, when I'm in this, I can edit the photo, but I don't know if I can save it as a different file type, whereas in the Paint program, I can. Okay, if I edit this photo in the Windows Photo Viewer program, which I believe is what this is, if I edit it, it will either replace the photo with what I've edited, or it will give you an opportunity to make a copy. And you can play with the copy and do what you want with it. Your original photo will stay the way it is. Or here I can open it in File Explorer. I don't think I'll do that now, but anyway. What are your questions? Question marks?
Jim, is it always a good idea to copy and work on it rather than to work on it?
You know, that's a really good question, and how many of you use Google Drive? Google Drive is free. I use it all the time. It's very helpful and valuable. Google Drive can open a document, and when you download it from Google Drive, you can download it anything as any file type, almost any file type you want. You give you a couple of choices anyway. So your question was, should you make a copy first? Google Drive always recommends that you make a copy. And when you make a copy in Google Drive, it has the same name, but the word copy inserted in the name so that you know it's a copy. Then you can play with that all you want and your original stays the way it is. Word doesn't work like that. If I open up a document in Word and I want to change it, let's say I want to add something here to it, this is a change. And just for fun, we'll make it nice and big, okay? Now, when I go to save my document, just a little bit, there we go, File. If I click Save, it will replace my previous document with the change and not change the name. So you will have discarded or removed your previous version of that document. That's why I recommend Save As, because you pick your folder here, and now I can see if I don't change this name, file name, and I click Save, it will do the same thing as if I did Save. But because I chose Save As, I get an opportunity to save the name, to change the name to a different name. And if I change this name, and I'll do that, okay, and I click Save, I'm saving it to the desktop, and I change the name, and it's a Word document, and I click Save, then I now have two documents, the original and the one with the change. Does that answer your question, Ann?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. I can't think of anything else, but file types is a rich area of learning if you want to learn more about them. But if you can open a file, you don't need necessarily to mess or change with file types. You would only have to do something if you could not open a file. Somebody sends you a file you can't open, or you're sending a file to somebody and they complain they can't open it. Then you probably have to get into file types. Any questions? Wow, either I'm really, really good or you're all asleep. Well, I hope you're not all asleep. But I don't think I'm that good either. But thank you for attending. And I just wanted to remind you once again that our next class is going to be in April, and that will be April 8th. And we're going to talk about Windows security, which is also my article for the April Monitor. And then April 22nd, we're going to talk about that Paint app in more detail, how to work with photos, save them as different file types, put text on photos, do Paint does do some good things, not as powerful as a full photo editor. But it is a tool that comes free with Windows, and you should be aware of it. Any other questions?
When are you gonna talk about one on the phone and the email? The pictures?
On pictures? Well, I already scheduled the April tech classes. So maybe in March, I'm sorry, in May, I'll do a class on photos in Windows.